Hey guys, and welcome to today's Coffee and Christ. I know, yeah, somebody told me I should bring coffee. Yeah, that seems appropriate.
Yeah.
You know, there are some weird things in life. I don't know if you've ever been to Gatlinburg, Tennessee or not.
Ooh, the travel's there.
Oh yes, it's beautiful, it's pretty. If you haven't been, you should go.
My daughter and I.
Yeah, it's great.
We went to?
Oh yeah, there's this wonderful store. It's overly priced, but it's worth seeing once, especially if you have free tickets, which apparently you did. That's a great price for it. Ripley's Believe It or Not.
Man, there's some freaky things in there.
You got all kinds of unique, crazy, ridiculous ideas.
Mutations and
And who knows if they're actually true or if they're just concocted. Who knows? There's no real way to tell. But it's kind of neat to think about it, and maybe a little bit creepy to think about that it could be real.
Yeah.
Which kind of got us to thinking.
Yep.
Life sometimes is weirder than fiction, stranger than fiction.
Yeah.
Things you just couldn't make up. So we got to thinking that maybe we ought to introduce a new idea within Coffee and Christ, something that we'll come back to every once in a while, and that is lessons learned from strange Bible stories.
Very strange.
The Bible's pretty straightforward. It's pretty raw, and it presents things exactly as they happen, exactly as they are, which means sometimes there are some really weird stories.
Crazy stories.
For example, our story today, Balaam. Balaam and the talking donkey.
Numbers chapters 22 through
24.
That's right.
Now, the first lesson seems quite obvious. We're going to produce we'll focus on the main lesson in just a minute. But there's a first sub-lesson. If a donkey talks to you, you should stop talking and go the other way, right? I don't understand why that didn't happen. The fact that Balaam, talks to his donkey, I feel like there might be an issue. But regardless, that's the first lesson.
It really happened.
I know, it's crazy. And if you're not familiar with the story, Baylock, the king of Moab, really wants to annihilate, mess up the Israelites because he's afraid they're going to take his kingdom. Mm-hmm. And so he goes and finds this rather unscrupulous individual, Balaam, and asks Balaam, who is a medium, asks Balaam to curse the Israelites so that they won't be able to take his land. And so Balaam, on his way to do just what Balak said, runs into this instance with the donkey. Donkey sees the angel of the Lord and tries to save Balaam, and for some reason Balaam can't see it, and talks to his donkey. The donkey responds. This is the third instance of something not quite being quite right, and finally God lets the donkey speak, and the donkey tells Balaam, "What are you doing? You have beaten me. Why are you beating me?"
This really happened.
I know, it's crazy. It's weird. Why he responded, I don't know. But what I think I find most interesting about Balaam is what takes place prior to the donkey incident. The king of Moab, Baylock, sends his men to recruit Balaam. And Balaam, doing the right thing, asks God, "Hey, am I supposed to go with these guys?" And God says, "No." To which Balaam responds, "Please." And he asked the men to spend the night. He asked Balak's men to spend the night, even though he's already gotten an answer from God.
Right.
And then he goes back to God the next day. "Please, can I go? Can I go?" And eventually God relents and allows Balaam to go. But making it very clear, you can only say what I'm going to let you say. And the story ends, if you're not familiar with the story of Balaam, the story ends with Balaam blessing Israel as opposed to cursing, much to the chagrin of Baylock. And it seems as though Balaam finally learned his lesson. But Balaam finally learned his lesson to listen to God. But if we fast forward several thousand years to 2 Peter chapter 2, verse 15, we learn that no, Balaam didn't actually learn his lesson. That he pursued greed. He wanted wicked gain.
Yep.
See, Balaam was bound and determined to figure out how he could do what he wanted to do. And so when he found out that he couldn't curse Israel, he told the king of Moab, "I can't curse them, but I'll tell you what I can do. If you send your women in amongst them and deceive their hearts, get them to stop following God, then they won't be able to beat you." So Balaam did his best to find a way to hurt the people of God, even though God told him not to.
Yep.
And so the lesson is quite simply this: don't let evil spend the night. If Balaam had just simply listened to God's response, had told the emissaries sent to him, no, I can't go. Sorry. If he'd just done that, he'd probably been okay.
Yeah.
But instead, he let evil spend the night. In our lives, we have a tendency to let evil spend the night when it's something we want to do, but we know we probably shouldn't.
Yeah.
We have a tendency to kind of keep dwelling on it. Well, maybe it wouldn't be that bad. But maybe I could be okay with it. Don't let evil spend the night. Instead, send it packing.
Yeah, the second lesson is if a donkey talks,
go the other way. Oof. Yeah. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May his face shine upon you and give you strength.